New games are always exciting.
Let's get
They
this
are
job
exciting
ready
and
to go.
fascinating because they bring about a breath of fresh air, something new to experience. At least those were the thoughts in my mind in 2017 when the first trailer for Anthem was released. We're going to talk about a very controversial topic today, but something that I believe needs to be talked about because not a lot of people looked into it. Today we're going to talk about why Anthem was actually, with all its faults, a better game than most released in these past few years. Now I understand that the name Anthem has been tossed around a lot in the gaming community. And there's a lot of people doing the usual stick of, I'm going to play Anthem 2023 so you don't have to. Or Anthem 2023, is it still worth it? Many different videos will pop up about this specific game. And most of the people were bashing the game for what it could have been. And were bashing BioWare for creating that atrocity, quotation mark. Now, I don't disagree that the game has a lot of unwanted features, a lot of stupid features, and a lot of stuff that could have been better. And that BioWare dropped the game completely. No updates, no nothing. But I just want you to understand and see that maybe, just maybe, Anthem was not a bad game as people portray it to be. Because now, whenever someone mentions the name Anthem, it's just to bash the game. It sucks. It's this. It was a failure. BioWare was this. BioWare was that. They could have done this. They could have done that. But nobody truly sits there and look at the game for what it could have been and how good it was at the moment. Let's rewind the clock for a little bit. It's 2017, the first trailer is out. I remember sitting there with my friend, we were discussing what to play next, and we saw that trailer. And that trailer was a lot. It was a lot to take in. But I remember thinking, the first thing that came to my mind was, this is the best Iron Man flying simulator that I could have possibly never asked for. It reminded me so much of Tony Stark in an Iron Man suit, just flying around doing whatever the hell he pleased, with mods, weapons, rockets. For me, on that first day when I saw that trailer, I was instantly hooked on the game. I remember I pre-ordered the game a couple days later, and I waited patiently, and I kept up with the game, or following up the game. Now, I pre-ordered the digital edition, so obviously I got the game 3 days early than most people. And me and my friend were sitting there, and we boot up the game. We didn't know what we were gonna get to, but all we knew was this. This game was an Iron Man simulator, and since I am a big fan of Iron Man, I was truly ready to fly like Iron Man. And those were my first thoughts before playing the game. Now, what happened next was we played the game, we had fun with the game. There was bug, yes, there was issue with the Fortarsis, yes, there was that. But the core of the game, the main component of the game, was beautiful. It was amazing. The flying was smooth. The visual were stunning. And most of all, the game stuck to what it promised us. It promised us a flying game, an Iron Man simulator game, with enemy to shoot, loot to collect, and a world to explore. And me and my friend, we fell in love with that. We loved the game for what it gave us. Now, I know right about this time in the video, most people are gonna go on the pitch. They're gonna light up their pitchfork and they're gonna begin their witch hunt once again, claiming it was a buggy mess. The world was empty. The world felt lifeless. The world was this. The world was that. But I just want you to remember, what we had in front of us that time was a gem. It was truly a gem. I believe it. I believe it was a gem because of what it made you feel the first few times you. Remember the first time you got in a javelin and you went out to fly? Sure, there were performance issues. Sure, maybe you lied, maybe you got kicked off the loading screen. We don't even have to talk about the loading screen. That was painful. But once you got into the game, into out in the world, fly around with your javelin, fly on the water, perform evasive maneuver, all those aspects, the game was good, empty but good, and that's what we like. We like flying around, we like shooting things in the air, and most important one, we just like to enjoy the scenery that we were given. Understandably, BioWare as a studio was not in a good place. They just had a massive mess up with Mass Effect Andromeda, with all those buggy mess, with all everything that was wrong with Andromeda. So BioWare had to prove themselves. But they have already pissed off a lot of fans because of Andromeda. So they were on the end of the stake. And people were just watching and seeing that this is the game that you took manpower away from Andromeda to create. And it is kind of pathetic. That's what it was in most people's eyes. So now we have a studio that just messed up one of the most loved franchise ever, which was Mass Effect. And the public and the gamer community knows that they took power away from one of the love child, which was Mass Effect Andromeda, and gave it to Anthem, which was to be the second coming of Christ for BioWare. Now they had to prove themselves. But in the eyes of gamers, it wasn't good enough. It was a shamble of a game. It was a buggy mess. The promise of an open world with no loading screen was a lie. Everything was loading everywhere. You want to go to a dungeon, it loads. You want to get a Fortress, it load. The gamers felt that they were betrayed. So, what did the gamers do when they felt they were betrayed? They bullied BioWare, and today BioWare couldn't take it anymore and shut the door for Anthem. Without realizing that by doing that, you solve nothing. By boycotting one game, you solve nothing because the other game was already a mess. They tried to fix it, but the damage was already made. But here comes this new IP with new ideology, with new perspective. But because they messed up previously with Andromeda, everybody just bashed them and everybody didn't trust them, and the ramp just went downhill from there. BioWare literally got bullied into shutting down support for Anthem. And that is a fact. Anywhere you look, there was bad comment. Any video you saw, it was people complaining about bugs, complaining about this, complaining about that. And that's all contributed to BioWare stopping the support for Anthem. Those were all contributing factors. But I want you to look a little bit further. I'm gonna give you several examples of games that had glory, that people wanted, that people saw. But at the end of the day, it was a shell, and people saw it for what it truly was. Now, I just watched a video recently by Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear, and that video opened my mind for me to make this video here. A very sensitive topic about a game that most people dislike. But I just want to give you some facts and point out some things that I think we should look in the grand picture of scheme when we're talking about Anthem and anything else. In the last few years, we had a couple games come out, many games claiming they're Destiny Killer. Everybody seems to compare everything to Destiny Killers. That's a different topic. But we had a couple of games that came out that were a complete shambles. We have the scandal that we had with No Man's Sky. Everybody remember how No Man's Sky came out. It was a very, very poorly made game. Promises were broken. Nothing was true about the game. Everything that they told us was a lie. But where Anthem failed to captivate people and make them give us a chance to continue, No Man's Sky, regardless of what people said, they promised that they were going to work in the game, and they continue to work in the game. And now we have one of the most played games on Steam. No one remembers the No Man's Sky from launch. Nobody remembers it because everybody knows the No Man's Sky that we have now, the better No Man's Sky, the much more refined No Man's Sky. I'll give you an example. The Witcher 3. When The Witcher 3 came out on PC, it was a douche canoe. It was a crap of a mess. Everything was bad. The AI was bad. The lighting, the graphics, the performance, everything was bad. CD Projekt stuck to their game, regardless of what people said. And they kept on making it better and better. And now we have The Witcher 3 with all of his DLC, all of his glory as hell as one of the most best RPG game of all time. Here's another example. The Division 1 from Ubisoft. When the Division 1 came out, everybody was clowning Ubisoft for what buggy mess of a game they created. Nobody liked the game. No, sure, you have some core fans. When I say nobody liked the game per se, but the general consensus of everybody down that played that game was that it was a buggy of a mess, it was trash, it was not worth anyone's time. But now, look at now, everybody hails Division Time as one of the best games that's ever come. And we even have a Division 2, which is even better. But for me, the game that illustrate this more is none other than Outriders. Outrider came out with a heat behind it. Everyone wanted to play Outriders. I remember I was one of those people that pre-order Outriders. I wanted to play it. It looks fun. It was everything they showcased was fun. But Outrider came out. We played the game for a little bit, and we came to find out just how boring and lackluster that game was. The moment-to-moment gameplay was absolutely ridiculous. The loot was bad. As soon as people figured out that only this type of way worked, people started playing that game that specific type of way. There was no variety. There was nothing there on Outriders. It came out. It was hot. Peaked out 130k players, and now, as of today, it sits at 958 players daily on Steam. And I'm not kidding. Look it up. You'll see it. But all I'm trying to make is this. The point I'm trying to make is this. Regardless this being an unpopular opinion, Anthem should have been given a chance to redeem itself. BioWare should have been given a chance to try to do better. But it was not given a chance. Instead, it was just bullied till they could not take it anymore. And EA being a money corporation, as always, they stopped support for the game. But with all that stopped support for the game, the game is still open for players to play. And as I last checked, it has around somewhere around 70k member logged in this month alone. Since I don't trust one source, I went around looking around after revisiting a couple of sites. Some sites say 70k, some sites say 35k. Well, I'm just giving you all the facts so that I will not call someone who doesn't look at all the information that is given. But here you go. This is me for the next day after doing some more editing, some more research to make sure all the facts were correct. That should tell you this game came out in 2019. Outrider came out in 2021. This game suffered ridiculous backlash. Outrider was praised. This game had the studio stop supporting it and left the game open for anybody that wanted to play. Outrider just went from hot to garbage potato in a matter of seconds. They tried releasing updates. They even had an expansion out, and it did not save that game. The cheater problem was ridiculous. People could just farm gear. You could join someone who's cheating, and he will get you to your gear no super quick. There was no fun in the Outrider playstyle. Anthem, on the other hand, provided us many things. One, the Iron Man flight simulator. Who doesn't want to fly like Iron Man? Two, better gun style, better gameplay, better moment-to-moment gameplay. Three, the world was beautiful. The world was amazing. Until this day, if you launch Anthem right now, Anthem's world will still take your breath away. Alright, here I want to leave a little bit of gameplay from one of the latest dungeons that they added on the highest difficulty in the game, Grandmaster 3. And yeah, just enjoy the game. I'll catch you back in a few minutes. Yeah, enjoy it.
Freelancer, those shaper orbs are suddenly supercharged. down.
I need assistance.
Thanks, Freelancer. Imagine if the Dominion had recaptured their monster.
Agreed. If they'd ever perfected that thing.
Don't even want to think about it. Come see me in Tarsus if you want to debrief.
Let's finish this.
I'm with you.
That is my unpopular opinion. What you're watching on the background is gameplay of me when I played back on release. Some of them I just went back to the game back recently, and I've been enjoying myself. The game is a little bit better now. They fixed the loot problem. They fixed a little quirk here and there. The loading screen is still there in case you're wondering. But the core of the game, the moment-to-moment gameplay, the flight, the fight, the movement of the mechs, everything is just it's still a better game than most games that have come out in the last few years. And I believe if it was given a chance to actually show us what BioWare could accomplish with that game, if it given time, it would have been one of the better games that's come out in the last few years. As in my opinion, it's still a better game than most games that have come out in the last few years. For an example, like I said, Outriders. It's the best way to compare it because they're both so similar with looter shooter of the same type of genre. While one has been unmaintained since 2020, the other one has been maintained. People can fly trying to stick with it, and it continuously showed us exactly its true color as it fly.